Welcome to SVG-TV News for Monday, November 23rd, 2020. I am Rochelle Batiste with the details. Health officials here are reporting a decrease in the overall cases of dengue fever. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Simone Keyser-Beach told SVG-TV News today that as of November 14, 2020, there were 1,617 laboratory confirmed cases of dengue fever with 7 recorded deaths. The most recent death was that of a 10-year-old female who was admitted to the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital on November 14th with symptoms of dengue fever. The child is also said to have underlying heart conditions. Dr. Keyser-Beach said that there has been a decrease in weekly laboratory confirmed cases of dengue fever and also a decrease in clinically diagnosed cases.
We have also noted a decrease in the number of laboratory confirmed cases, and starting from week 41, which was October the 10th, when we had 194 cases for that week, and subsequent to that, we have had a constant decrease in the number of cases. We have also noted a decrease in the clinically diagnosed cases of dengue fever over that period.
The CMO said Pembroke and some other districts continue to have the highest incidences of the viral illness.
Where we are seeing the cases still in the Pembroke, Kingston and Calico areas, and now Mariqua and Chateaubelair health districts also have moved ahead of, say, Georgetown. Continue to work in terms of our vector control unit, in terms of intensified integrated vector control program, where we focus on source reduction, that is to decrease the amount of mosquitoes we have. As we know, the mosquito spreads the dengue virus. We have noted some decreases in the mosquito breeding indices throughout the country, starting from the first half of November, and this we think is an indication of the effectiveness of our increased fogging and the messages to the communities to decrease the breeding sites.
The CMO is encouraging Vincentians to continue cooperating with the Ministry of Health in stopping the spread of dengue by getting rid of the Aedes aegypti mosquito, which carries the dengue virus.
We would like the continued cooperation work of the general public to ensure that we see sustained decreases in both the indices and the resultant dengue infections. So we ask persons to continue to inspect their homes, remove any stagnant water. Persons should continue to wear their insect repellent, their long sleeves, long pants. They should seek care early on if they think they're having any features of dengue. And of particular concern would be persons with pre-existing conditions such as sickle cell disease, kidney problems, heart disease, or persons who have previously had dengue or Zika, or children of mothers who have had dengue, because we know that these persons are at increased risk to develop severe dengue fever.
In other news, social commentators are of the view that given the economic challenges and the COVID-19 pandemic, interesting times are ahead for this country and the new ULP administration. Speaking on SVG-TV's Viewpoint program on Sunday, which look at the socio-economic challenges and development and what should be the top priorities going forward, lawyer and social commentator Roderick Jones said poverty alleviation is one of the areas to which the new administration will have to pay a lot of attention over the next 5 years.
They have not done a great job in the last term, and that's the harsh reality. We still have too many persons who are living below the poverty level. This government hasn't done a great job in finding new ways of generating revenue, separated apart from the tax dollar. We have been essentially, it's tantamount to living paycheck to paycheck. If you want to put it on the domestic level, you know, you hear the term that there are people who live paycheck to paycheck. That's how this country has been run for however long. So we we need to find, or this new administration, I believe, need to find a way of reviving the economy in some meaningful way that is sustainable.
Jones said although the current administration has already made its position clear on the Citizenship by Investment program, he thinks it should not be completely ruled out.
I'm not at all suggesting that that is the be all and end all to our economic problems, but certainly we have seen that this has yielded some good results in some of our neighboring countries, and my position has always been, even if we want to give that program some consideration, we tailor-make it to suit our particular circumstances in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The reality is that countries have benefited from it, and I believe that we too can enjoy some of the benefits that this program can, once we ensure that we have the necessary checks and balances in place.
Another lawyer and social commentator, Jomo Thomas, said the economic problems facing the country are huge, and he strongly disregards the government's position on poverty, a problem which needs to be tackled head-on.
Some authenticity to the report which was leaked. I think that it's frightening because it shows that we are now back where we were 20 years ago. I think the Prime Minister's explanations were disingenuous when he said that the report was just a study and that you needed to peer review this study. That is utter nonsense. If you have a report which says that 30% or 37% of the people are in poverty, you could peer review that at every university across the world. It's still going to come back as 30% in poverty. 37%. We have seen on the ground that back in 1997 it was 37, 38%. And then by 2007, 2008, when the Kiara group did the study again, it came down to 30%. But it's almost inevitable because even 2008 was the period when you had the world collapse. The international economy collapsed. So people who might have been lifted out of poverty logically would have fallen back. And I think the government just didn't want to announce that, issue a report. And I could see why they didn't want to issue a report coming up to an election, but the explanations were horrible.
Thomas said climate change is also going to pose a major problem, as resources will have to be sourced to help the country mitigate some of its impacts. He said this, along with the high unemployment rate, particularly among the youths, will continue to haunt the country for a long time.
And quite frankly, unless we have some serious realignment in the way in which the international economy is run, I don't see how we get out of this logjam. Because as Brother Mohammed says, the problem in St. Vincent are peculiar to the problems in St. Lucia, Barbados, or Jamaica. All of them are being run neoliberal, capitalist-run economies. All of them work on the same kind of system. And I don't see how they're going to get out of it, because the international institutions are not going to give us any kind of major assistance to help us out of it. You have people who are coming to do business. Some of them are crooks, some of them are scoundrels. Some of them are interested in maximizing the profits. I mean, we hear the problems all the time in the Grenadines. We hear problems where people are working, incentives are working and not getting paid. So these are a lot of the businesses we are having are extractive. They're not adding anything real to the economy. They're here to rip our people off and to exploit our people and to make more and more money. So all of that in the mix, I think we are in for a very, very difficult time.
Having led his Unity Labour Party to a historic fifth term in office, Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, who has indicated that he will be bowing out of active politics, said he is already putting things in place to effect the transition in fundamental ways. Speaking on the WeFM's Issue at Hand program on Sunday, PM Gonsalves said the ULP has a number of capable people and that the party will decide who will succeed him as political leader. He said that person will be made Prime Minister Minister when the time comes.
Between them, and thank God I have the forward thinking. I'm refreshing my ideas and associating with young people all the time and getting new and fresh ideas and rethinking things and trying to deepen and broaden the transformation, which is what I campaigned on, you know. And that's what the people elected me on, and that's what I'm doing. I take these things very, very seriously.
Commenting on the females who unsuccessfully contested the November 5th general elections, the Prime Minister said they are all of merit and that the 2 females on the ULP ticket in the persons of Dr. Minerva Glasgow and Deborah Charles are of real quality.
Minnie is an experienced person. You don't become deputy director of the NIS, and her educational achievement up to the doctoral level in issues touching and concerning management. I mean, and she has a splendid record. So Minnie Glasgow is a top draw woman. So too is Debbie. Debbie Charles, apart from she rising in the teaching profession, a lot of people don't know that Debbie had the discipline to do her degree in law. By distance, you know. Debbie has an LLB. She has a degree in law. Incidentally, so too does Minnie, in addition to all her other qualifications. And both of them are very stable women, very progressive.
Dr. Gonzalez also commented on the 3 female candidates on the NDP ticket, noting it was their misfortune that they ran against formidable candidates for the ULP.
Montgomery Daniel was an excellent constituency man. And Montgomery Daniel, from the days that he has early days involved in politics to now, I mean, he talked to people like Renwick Rose, Cecil himself, who have seen him operate. This is a man who has grown phenomenally in terms of his breadth of knowledge, comprehension, judgment, and so on. I mean, he's why do you think I made him deputy
Prime Minister?
Prime Minister, and he has a different style and so forth, but everybody got their own style, and Camilo is a formidable person intellectually and is an experience. He has made a success of everything he has done, whatever job he has done. You can't take that from him. And then Kibaka's experienced a lawyer as she is, coming up against Curtis King, who is a grounded man in his constituency, rose to the ranks of headmaster, of the grammar school. These are formidable people, you know, of real quality.
Commenting on the North Leeward seat, which the ULP's candidate Carlos James won by a single vote, PM Gonzalez said he is satisfied that the electoral officers did everything properly and right in the recount, and if the NDP wants, they can challenge this in court. Minister of Tourism Carlos James has made a call for a renewed focus on tourism in SVG as his ministry commenced a week of activities with a Thanksgiving service at the Methodist Church today. James said that even as SVG continues to be affected by the COVID-19 pandemic, there has to be a different approach to boosting tourism, the industry.
To do is use this opportunity, and not just a tourism month, but going into the new year, to have a renewed focus on the industry, a renewed focus on the island and the packages that we offer as a destination, a renewed focus on bringing St. Vincent up to a particular standard where our competitiveness is on the equal or rival any other destination within the Caribbean or internationally. And we have to use this period of the downturn of COVID to set about to do just that.
The minister said there will be the refurbishment of structures and tourism sites in the coming months as they prepare for expected visitors in the next few years. And James shared some of his vision to boost the tourism sector in SVG.
The other persons here, Rodney, we have to marry culture within a more significant way within the packages and the programs that we offer. Because when I go up to Fort Charlotte, I would like to see a reenactment of Chateau and the British. When I go to Rosebank, which is one of the last indigenous villages on the leeward side, I would like to see the quadrille and the artifacts as well as the craft. And when I go to Sandy Bay and Fancy, I would like to see reenactments of the Garifuna and the music and the language. And the modern tourist is not really just interested in sun, sea, and sand, but they want to see what our country has to offer. They want to see our indigenous nature, our people. They want to see how we live and how we existed.
As part of the week of activities, there will be a digital staycation campaign, human resource development training with taxi drivers and tour operators, as well as a cleanup campaign on the beaches on the leeward end of the mainland. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Tourism, Dr. Risa McBannett, said the week of activities is geared towards ensuring that Vincentians rediscover SVG.
The weekly digital staycation campaign provides the opportunity for several tourism-approved tourism services to increase their reach in the local markets, as Vincentians are encouraged to experience and rediscover our beautiful 32 islands and keys. The current COVID-19 pandemic and other crises continue to test our society and institutions. There is now an important shift beyond the acknowledgement of tourism as a developmental tool and job creator to the responsibility to build a more resilient and inclusive tourism sector that sustains both the environment and people of our small island state.
The lack of interest by men in seeking medical attention was one of the issues discussed at a virtual men's forum held here last week to observe International Men's Day. Speaking at the forum, urologist Dr. Rohan Dishong said that based on his observations and experience in dealing with men's health, many men do not do general health checks, and it is usually when they are uncomfortable or in a lot of pain that they seek medical help.
Men would only come when really extreme. So for young men, most of the young men I see in my office do not come because, oh, doc, I think I have sugar or pressure or something. They come because I have a burden in viewing, I have a discharge, I have a pain in my private parts, or things like that. The older men will come again because there is pain, there is blood, or I can't pee. Pain and blood, again the private parts, or I can't pee. So those are usually emergencies. Men rarely go just for a general check. ED or erectile dysfunction is classic.
The urologist said that globally, most men die younger than women, and it was found that women talk more about their health problems while men do not. Counselor within the Ministry of National Mobilization, Family, Gender Affairs and Youth, Kelsey Cambridge, said this has to do with how boys are socialized.
Aspects as well, that men by and large are not talkers. So you will find it difficult to engage men on different things because generally they're not talkers. You would find it difficult to get a man to open up, and as the discussion gets along, we'll see how socialization has played a major role in the way in which men interact and even engage health practitioners and persons from different social services, whether it is a counselor, a psychologist, a psychiatrist. You'll find that it is somewhat difficult for men to open up because it goes right back to socialization and the way in which men have been taught.
Kesley Cambridge suggested that discussions be held with men where they are comfortable and willing to open up about issues which affect them. Another issue raised at the forum was gender-based violence, and Minister responsible for gender affairs, Orlando Brewster, said that moving forward, the government will move to implement programs that are targeted towards the needs of men.
And we have to, from the government perspective, do some deep research there as to one of the reasons why, when they get to a certain threshold in their age, they are not going to the healthcare centers, because it is serious. Sometimes they get to the healthcare centers when not much could be done. And as a doctor, when you're faced with that issue, it's frustrating, because you visited the center, a couple of times before, you would have had a clear medical history as to, what is happening before and where it's at now.
International Men's Day was observed under the theme Better Health for Men and Boys. Non-governmental organizations have been urged to submit proposals to access grants from the United Nations Development Program for community projects. The grants will be available from early next year. Today at the Methodist Church Hall, a two-day project writing and management workshop commenced, where the NGO representatives will be trained and guided on how to be successful. Chair of the National Steering Committee of the Global Environment Facility, Jeff Small Grants Program, Marcus Richards, said the grants are available from as low as $5,000 to as much as $150,000 under the Small Grant Projects Initiative.
We have recognized the need for grants, and the Small Grants Program facilitates grants from $5,000 to up to $150,000 US. So it's a significant injection depending on what project opportunity you wish to pursue. To date, the program would have issued in terms of grant over $1.5 million US. So it is significant.
National Coordinator of the Jeff Small Grants Program, Tashika Haynes-Bob, said that when submitting project proposals, organizations should focus on community development and which will benefit the people.
To the environment or may have environmental problems, and we also look at the poor and vulnerable. We try to build capacity. We try to do sustainable projects. So while you are solving an environmental problem, we try to make sure that the project is sustainable and that livelihoods are impacted, so that we create sustainable livelihoods, so that when the project funds have been depleted, you have something thriving in your community that you could even upscale. And so that is some of the things that we would like to also stress. So we don't want that, okay, you do a project to solve one environmental or two environmental problems, and at the end of the funds, everything falls down. We want you to be able to be at a level where at the end of the funds, you are well established, the project is functioning, there's a livelihood being gained from it, and then you can come back for another project to even kind of improve yourself even more, or expand and upscale or replicate some.
She added that such issues as climate change, land degradation, and protection of international waters impact SVG significantly, and those are some areas around which projects can be developed. Haynes-Bob said that there are other grants that could become available, though not particularly from the Jeff Small Grants Program, but the proposal writing is similar, hence organization representatives can make use of the skills acquired during the two-day workshop.
You would feel more confident when it comes to writing a proposal. And even though we would be using the format for the Jeff Small Grants, it would still give you a very good grounding if you want to apply to another funding agencies. There are a number of agencies out there that give grants, and we have our NGO listing that we would email opportunities to ever so often. So If you are affiliated to a particular NGO and you've never received an email from us, make sure that you put down your information so that whenever we see possibilities for funding and so forth, that we can email it to you.
The local Calypsonian fraternity is in mourning following the passing of Alexis Joseph, popularly known as Lexi. President of the SVG Calypsonians Association, Earl Bennett, described Lexi's death as a great loss, noting that he is grieved and was shocked that his death was so sudden.
I'm saddened. It's a very sad day in Simmons and Grandin, not only for the Calypsonian Association, but our nation as a whole. We have lost a patriot, an icon, a stalwart in the cultural business. I am here now very emotional. We all knew that he was sick, but that is something that you can never come to terms with. So I'm grief-stricken, and so is the Calypso fraternity.
Bennett said that Lexi Joseph, a former president of the SVG Calypsonians Association and member of the Graduates Calypso Tent, served with dignity and integrity, and his contribution to the Calypsonian community will be dearly missed.
Well-rounded person, very talented. You know, he ran the whole gamut of Calypso when you think about it. When you look at Lexi's work, you can see philosophical calypsos, humorous calypsos, social commentary, political commentary. He even dabbled in what we call soca, and he was very successful for the most part, entertaining us by educating us. You know, it was entertainment through education to Lexi. He has contributed significantly to the development and promotion of the art form, and we are very grateful for his contribution.
Bennett remembers Lexi Joseph for his popular calypso, Ease Up Fisherman, which was one of his biggest hits.
Craft involved in that song, the double entendre, the creativity, that, in my opinion, one of the best calypsos ever written in Simmons and Grandin. Not only did he do that, I am a Saint Hillian, another coinage from Saint Hill, and Lexi was also a Saint Hillian. And Lexi did one of his calypsos in tribute to Saint Hill many years ago, when he reached the finals, and that song was Move On Saint Hill. And that song is very close to my heart, and close to Saint Hillian's heart.
Bennett expressed condolences to Lexi's family and friends. The police have nabbed and charged another 2 persons in connection with the burglary and theft of $37,000 in cash from the First St. Vincent Bank on November 19th. In addition to the earlier arrest of Jaron Brown, police say they have arrested and jointly charged Jason Williams, a 32-year-old laborer of Annisvale, and Solomon Laborde, a 27-year-old laborer of Morris Village, with the offenses of burglary and damage to property stemming from the same incident. The police say, according to their investigations, the accused men allegedly entered the First St. Vincent Bank as trespassers and stole $37,000 in cash. They were also charged for, without lawful excuse, damaging a glass window pane by smashing it with stones. The incident occurred between 11 a.m. on Saturday, November 13th and at 9:30 p.m. on Sunday, November 15th at the First St. Vincent Bank on James Street, Kingstown. The accused men appeared before the Kingstown Magistrate Court last Friday and pleaded not guilty. They were remanded until Friday, November 27th for bail review. And the police are also investigating the circumstances surrounding the stabbing death of Akito Bowens, a 33-year-old farmer of Lomans Windward, at about 1:45 p.m. last Saturday, November 22nd. The police said their investigation so far revealed that the deceased and the assailant got into an altercation which escalated and resulted in Bowens receiving multiple stabs to his chest. Bowens was rushed to the Levi Latham Health Center for medical attention and later died from his injuries. A post-mortem examination will be conducted.